I recently went to one of those white elephant Christmas parties, and my gift was apparently so bad that the person who received it proceeded to make fun of it and talk about how terrible it was for the rest of the entire party. And I want to talk about it today because hindsight 2020, I do think looking back on it, the story itself is very funny, but I think it brings up a really good discussion about with Christmas or any sort of event, what is appropriate behavior, like reactions to things, especially as someone who is neurodivergent and Christmas has always been a really hard time for me. Just what are things that are appropriate at parties and ways that we should all be behaving as adults in front of other people who have feelings? Discussions of basic human empathy and things like that are really important to keep having and reminding people. Because unfortunately, as a society, it feels like as time goes on, we are losing empathy more and more for some reason. So before we fully dive into it, hi, I'm Andra. You might know me from TikTok or any of my other platforms. My username is usually either Hope You Find Your Dad or Andra Berghoff everywhere else. Look me up. I'm just getting started on YouTube, so thank you for always complaining that I'm doing everything wrong in my comments. Okay, so important background information. You guys know that I'm born and raised in Minnesota. I literally still live there. But as a creator who's gained traction recently, I had some wonderful opportunities to work with some amazing people and travel this year. And so I met a lot of people, and my mother lives out here in California. So I'm spending the holidays in California, and one of the wonderful people that I met is throwing a white elephant party down in LA. And they're inviting one other person that I know. So obviously I'm going to go because I haven't seen them in a little while, and I'm super excited because I absolutely love those people with my whole heart. But most of that party is going to be that person's friends, so a lot of people I don't know. So I'm super excited, but I'm already mentally prepping myself to meet a bunch of people I don't know because that's going to be super overwhelming. Also, I am in my 20s, but everyone who's going to be there, especially the people I made friends with, are in their 30s and 40s. So it's just a different vibe that I have to be prepared for, and it's just a different situation. I've also never been to a white elephant party, so I ask around for what exactly I should bring, because you have to buy a gift, and the limit is $20. And most people tell me that the vibe of a white elephant party is kind of get the craziest thing you can find, or something that's definitely a gag gift. So I'm on the 3 to 4 hour drive to LA, and I realize into it that I left my gift on the counter at home accidentally. So I make a stop at one of my favorite little kind of niche cute coffee shops where they sell a lot of really adorable gifts. I think it's called Red Kettle Coffee. If you haven't been there and you live anywhere in that part of California, 1000% go, because they sell all these really cute artist made gifts and trinkets. And I'm perfect, okay? So I'll get a cute gift, and maybe it'll be a little bit, niche and gaggy. So I get these stackable Tupperware sets, right? I think there's 3 or 4 within them, and they have these cute little cartoon dogs around the side. So I'm it's kind of niche, but it's still usable and cute. I'm really pleased with it. After tax and whatnot, it rings out to around $12, $14-ish. I'll try and find a photo of it somewhere online that you guys can see. So then I also pick out some stickers that I believe are artist made stickers. They're very cute. I think they were a frog or a gnome and I don't know. I thought they were adorable. But it rings in over $15, under 20, absolutely perfect. I pull up to the party. There's my one friend that invited me that I know, and one other friend that I also know. So 2 people, not a lot. And most of the other people are people who are friends with the guy who I'm friends with who's throwing the party. Sorry if that's a little bit confusing. But it is a lot of people I don't know, and it's very loud. It's overstimulating. I'm a little bit overwhelmed, but I'm trying to be as polite as possible and not let it show. So it comes time to play the game White Elephant. And I've prepped myself for the premise of this game, which is that you're going to receive a gift that's probably not good or something that wasn't intended for you. So regardless of if you like the gift, I've trained myself to be okay, just open the gift. If you love it or hate it, just look at it, smile, let out a little laugh. If it's funny, just be it's great. I love it. Put on a little face and move on, because that's what adults do, regardless of if you like the gift or not. And listen, I realize that prepping myself to visually display the proper emotions upon receiving a gift is probably the most neurodivergent thing I could possibly say at all in my entire life. Maybe. I don't know. But the girlies who know what I'm talking about. And I just wanted to be polite and play the game. And it's no big deal. If I hate the gift too, I'm I can just re-gift it to someone. It doesn't matter. no loss. The point of the game is just to be at the party and have fun. I understand the concept and I'm ready to execute it. The first issue is that everyone seemed to come to this game with a different understanding of what White Elephant is. Some people got really bad gag gifts, right? Which is what I was told it was supposed to be. But then some people tried really hard to get like good, cute gifts like candles or like really nice things. So we all seem to be on a different page for what this game entails. The second issue is there's a couple people at the party who weren't the friendliest, but specifically this one woman who is extremely negative, and everything that came out of her mouth, it felt like, had to be turned negative. And I had just been avoiding her that entire night because whatever, I'll just go hang out with someone else. I don't care. But like to the point where even when they were talking about Wicked and everyone was like, yeah, Wicked was pretty good, she was like, yeah, but the roles like weren't that hard to play, so I just like wasn't impressed because anyone could have done that essentially. And I was like, first of all, the difficulty of the role doesn't take away from the fact that they did a good job. But also, like, I bit my tongue at everything this woman said for that entire night. And I think you can see where this is going. Because it gets to her turn. She goes up to pick a gift. And she picks my gift. And immediately I'm thinking, oh, God, no. This is not going to go well. Because I know that woman is expecting the moon. And she's about to get something that I don't... Anyway, she opens the gift. And she looks at it. And immediately, the first thing out of her mouth, after her disappointed and disgusted looking at it is, wasn't there a $20? Wasn't it supposed to be $20? I don't think this even comes close to $20. And my friend, love him, the host, clarifies that the $20 was the cap. So anything that falls under $20 was the premise, right? And I'm just sitting there trying to keep a straight face, right? Trying to make it not obvious that that was my gift, even though it's probably kind of obvious that that was my gift because I stick out like a sore thumb at that party and so did that gift. But she proceeds to say every negative thing you can think of under the sun after that about this gift, right? She doesn't like it. It's awful. It's terrible. Who got this? I don't want it. Like, can someone trade me for it? Am I allowed to put it back? Every negative thing you could imagine is said about this gift. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, who got that? Who did that? Who put thought into that one? But this woman hates the gift so much that for the rest of the entire party, right, she keeps complaining about how awful it is and how much she doesn't want that gift. For a moment in time, for just a second, I feel horrible about it, right? I'm so embarrassed that this is an awful gift. And then in 60 seconds, I have to like internally therapist myself so that I don't show like how much I feel like throwing up in that moment and how humiliating it is to hear those things said about my gift in front of everybody. And I go through a string of emotion because for a moment I feel horrible thinking the gift's awful. But then I stop and realize, no, that's actually a really cute gift. And I know a lot of people who would have appreciated that gift. That woman's just an awful person. Like later, even my friend made me feel better and affirmed me that like he was actually going to trade for that gift because he liked it so much. But in the end, he just decided to go with something else. But he was really on the fence about it. And I was like, okay, thank you. I feel better about that. And then after I moved past that, right, in the first 5 seconds and realized the gift's actually not that terrible and regardless, like this is an inappropriate reaction, I realized that the reason I feel like I'm going to throw up, I feel so bad inside, is because that was such a vastly, disgustingly inappropriate reaction to see from a grown adult in, her mid-30s, I believe. What I was actually feeling in that moment was the most secondhand embarrassment anyone has ever felt in their life. To see a grown adult acting like a small child. Worse than a small child, actually. I have nieces who would have acted better than that. Just absolutely acting like an overgrown, entitled, spoiled toddler. Not only for that moment, but for the entire rest of the night over a fucking game. And one of the things that especially like concerned me or maybe disturbed me was the lack of empathy or like ability to understand that the person who purchased that gift was also in that room and could hear everything she was saying that entire night. Like, that's some pretty like toddler level brain functioning. To not be able to conceptualize that is crazy. And what made me feel a little better as well is as the game went on, then my friend's present got picked, which he later told us that he spent a lot of time going to pick out, and he's also an influencer. He even pulled his audience to help him decide what present to get. And he ended up going with this really adorable, really cute, like Care Bears lunchbox, vintage. And it had the original like 1980s, 90s cartoon design on it, which I thought was so cute. Like it was lovely. And he said he spent so much time like trying to find the perfect gift, and he found that, I guess, thrifting or something. And the woman who opened up that one had pretty much the same reaction as the last woman. Like, she loudly declared that she hated it. Like, what am I going to use this for? It was embarrassing. Like, I felt better because I was like, oh, these are just like horribly behaved people. Like, these are just awful adults we're dealing with. It has nothing to do with the gift. But the woman who got my present went on for the rest of the night talking about how horrible this is, right? Not even stopping to think and realize that the person who got that present is in the room listening to her speak, right? This party's happening mostly in one room. Like, we can all hear you for the entire night. And eventually she blurts out something like, did we ever figure out who got like what presents? Like, who was in charge of mine? And I was standing right next to her and I just looked at her and went, oh, I'm so sorry. That was actually like me. That's my bad. Like, I know you hate it. It's okay. And she immediately looked at me and I finally saw a little switch of empathy flip in her eyes. And she goes, oh no, like, I actually do love, like, I'm going to use it. I do like it. I was just kidding. No, you weren't, ma'am. You spent the entire night flaming that gift and you hate it. And I don't care, right? It's like $15, whatever. Throw it in the garbage if you want to. It just was painfully humiliating to watch a grown adult act like that the entire night over a single Christmas present. I don't know who raised you or who is responsible for that behavior. I mean, honestly, you at that age and you alone. But there's a really good lesson to be learned in all of this with reacting to Christmas presents and empathy and like things that matter and things that don't in this life. So if you get a bad present, just pretend to like it. You can always return it or re-gift it because who cares? Especially if you're an adult. Kids, whatever. Kids are going to react however they want. But that is just act your age, people. And can we at least all get on the same page with White Elephant supposed to be like a little bit campy and fun, but also still maybe not? Like, could we split the difference? Why are we trying so hard with the $20 budget? That was insane. Just have fun at a party, okay? And remember that the people around you can hear what you're saying. And honestly, we as a society just need to start being a little bit more mindful and caring a little bit more about one another and thinking less of ourselves. So think about that, especially this holiday season. Make sure you like and subscribe, I guess, if you enjoy our talks and story times here. I know this is a little bit off the regular beaten path, but there you have it. I just thought I'd share that because that was a crazy experience. Wild, but a good lesson that apparently some people shockingly still have not learned when they're almost 40 years old.